In Affinity Photo, you can create all kinds of super colourful designs like this very quickly from a very basic set of filters. Now, you could use gradients, of course, to create this. You could use brushes to create this, but you can also use filters in Affinity Photo as well. So let's just delete these, and I'm just going to create a layer. So layer, new layer. Then with that, I can set the colour for this filter that I'm going to use. The filter I'm going to use, Perlin noise. Just set this colour here, and I'm going to go with green initially, and that's for the first layer. So filters, down to noise and Perlin noise, and you can see it's green. Now, of course, if you had an image there or something like a gradient, etc., the result will be different. And also you could use these blend modes. Obviously, when there's nothing there, it's not blending with anything. There's no difference. So you could change it to all the different settings and you will notice nothing. However, what I want is this octave and zoom. So you can change that. You can push that up to say like that. You can also change persistence, and then you get a more really sort of obvious grain there. I don't want that. I want a more slight blurry effect. So I want a bit of grain, but just going to go for about the middle and click apply. So that's my first layer. Then go to layer and new layer again. And this time I'm going to go for a different colour, red. But I can bring up the filters. So filter and go down there to noise and Perlin noise. And I can change it here. So I might change my mind. I might think, you know what, I want red or green or whatever. So just double click again over here. And this brings up this panel. And you can change the colour choosing. Maybe go for blue, say, and close. And you can change the octaves, change the zoom, and change persistence. And again, it doesn't matter, blend mode, there's nothing in the layer. So normal, click apply. And of course you can create the next one. So layer and new. So with that, I'm going to go for red. So red, green, obviously red, blue and green. But I'll change it here. So I can change it before I go into it and go with something like red or orange in this case. So close and filters, go to noise and Perlin noise. And there you can see I've got a slightly different there, orange, and change the zoom, persistence, just tweak them slightly and click apply. Once you've done that, what you can then do is go to the layers and you can go through these. So you can just go for dark and multiply, and you can see as you change it, different results. You might like to go for like negation. Just try them out. Select that one, maybe go through this one, and you can see as you do it, some work better than others. Sometimes you get some lovely colour ones, maybe lighter colour, lighten, and so on. Now obviously you don't need to change that one. You can keep that normal, but maybe go for run through this again. And you can see as you do that, you get a whole range of different colours. Maybe go for difference. So with that, you've got this design. Well, now you can merge all the layers. Now, one thing that's probably quite useful, I've gone for this, so document, and down here, convert format. So convert. Now I've gone for RGB8. Now you might like to go for, just go for RGB. That will probably be even more colourful, but I've just gone for 8 as default. So cancel. So I'm just going to merge them all now. So select all of those, all selected, go to layer and merge selected. So they're all merged into a single layer. Now the result may be not exactly what you want. You might want to tweak it further, maybe with some layer and new adjustment layer, and set one of these ones just to modify it a bit further. Maybe go for vibrance, etc. Also another option which I always quite like doing, filters, and it's a very quick and easy one. Doesn't always work. Auto levels, just try it. Yes, I'm quite happy with that. So with that design now, what I can do, got this lovely colourful design, something you wouldn't be able to create in Perlin noise directly. You can't create that. It's obviously red, green, blue, whatever. You have to build it up. So with that, I can now manipulate this further. And I always love to go for filters and distort and deform. So you could use any others, of course. Maybe try it with displace. So you could have an image and then create obviously a nicely displaced image using these colourful designs. That could look good as well. So deform, and I'm just going to distort it. Now, I often go, I don't know which tool's being actually used. I always find it's easier if you've got the move tool selected. Sometimes if you're using the brush tool or some other tool, it doesn't always seem to allow the pins to be selected. Don't know why, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So filters, distort and deform, and then you can add some pins. Now I like to add them maybe in a sort of curve or something. You can do whatever you want. Maybe have them all go into a central point or something. Also, personally, I like similarity. So similarity, and just drag that. And as you do that, you can see then you get these lovely swirls of colour very quickly. And you can always just drag it that way or drag it that way and have it crunched up against it. And then you can see you get these lovely sort of like very hot spots of colour there. And then go for this one and drag that down. Maybe cross over into there. And again, as that approaches there, you can see it really crunches up. Really, or obviously goes to nothing at that point, but maybe keep it about there. And then go with this one. And you can see you can create all kinds of wonderful distortions. And you can always add some additional ones. And add some more. Once you're happy with it, click apply. And you've got that design. When you've done that, you can always duplicate this layer. I love to duplicate it. Maybe you could do it 4 or 5, 10 times. Create multiple layers. Especially now you've got the feature with the move tool and move duplicate. It's a really good way of creating some combinations and very quickly check them out. But I'm just going to do 2. So layer and down to duplicate. So I've duplicated it. And now, obviously, if I go over here and go through this, you can see you can create some interesting colour designs just by going through changing the blend mode without changing anything else. You might think that looks better than before. Obviously, difference is completely black. There is no difference. Saturation and so on and so on. But also what you can do is you can transform it. So right click and you've got transform and you've got flip horizontal. Obviously, you can do some more than that. But I'm just going to go with flip horizontal. So flipped it. Then go over again over blend modes. Now I can go for darken, multiply, lighten and so on. And you can see just by running through a variety of different designs. Now, some look better than others. Some really say work better if you went for 32-bit, personally. But you go difference. Now, I like that one, negation. Negation is always quite fascinating. So, what you can do, again, select both those, and then again, layer, and you can merge selected all into one single pixel layer. And of course, you can then, if you want, maybe blur this thing. I would love to see some more features in Affinity Photo, like oil paint, where you can actually smear the design a bit better. Unfortunately, the blurs are good, but you can maybe try some of these, maybe motion blur. I mean, motion blur is a really nice one. You can get a lovely smear effect, and you can modify it by simply dragging across. I quite like just to shift it slightly at an angle. Maybe you can change the rotation. Just try it out and click apply to get lovely sort of colourful smears. And again, once you've done that, you can always distort that. Now, I'd love to see filters to have like multiple filters at the top, say 3 or 4. Just one seems to be a bit, not too many. I think that's would be nicer. But again, you can do exactly the same. Just duplicate this layer, duplicate. With that, again, just right click and transform. And again, rotate, flip horizontal or rotate, perfectly reasonable as well. And then just use blend modes. Obviously, this time it's going to be a crisscross pattern, but colour burn, lighten, and so on. Now, sometimes it's effective, sometimes it's not. Again, negation, it's always worth trying out. So, colour dodge is probably not the best one. Dark colour, and so on. But like I say, you could just try it out with other things as well, with other settings. So, this time, document, let's just go and change it. So, document and convert. And I'm going to go for, instead of RGB8, let's just go for 32. Much nicer. So convert, and now do exactly the same. Again, go through these filters, set the colour there. So I'm going to go for not orange, maybe go for a different colour. So double click, and then, but now when you, in 32-bit, you see you've got slightly different. You can tweak this, you can change these. I think it gives a lot more options. So maybe go for that one, or maybe tweak it. You can see as you change it, maybe change the colour there. And I'm going to go with green, close. And again, filters, needs a layer as well. None of the filters will work if you don't have a layer. I don't know why the filter does not generate a new layer. That would be a nice feature. Or at least come up with a prompt. If it was Photoshop, it would come up with a prompt. But here, should just create it in the filter if it doesn't see one. So layer and new layer. Then go to filters and then go down to noise and Perlin noise. And then you can see you've got that. Now, another option, let's just change the zoom. Let's just go for layer and new layer, but this time let's add something to it. So gradient, let's just go and quickly create a gradient. Click on here, you've got swatches, maybe go for something slightly different, so a different colour. You can see you can create obviously different colourful designs. But now with the Perlin noise, go to filters and down to noise, Perlin noise, and instead of that green, let's just change the colour there and go for blue and close. This time, let's just go through it, and you can see because I've got something actually in the layer, this blend mode actually does something. Not much. In fact, not particularly super effective, but you can create some interesting, I think, really quite nice effects just by doing something like that to create this sort of like, you know, parts of this red here, part of the green, sort of creating that light, that central point, vivid light. And also go for, say, hue, or some work better than others, like say subtract. That's quite nice. It's still got that patchy noise. You've got the green there. Click apply. And again, layer and new layer. Now you could use an image, of course. Maybe you could have like multiple images and use that Perlin noise on those to modify them dramatically and then combine them, say 3 or 4 layers as well. This time, let's just change the colour again, double click there and go for purple. I haven't gone for purple. Blue again. Don't want that. It doesn't seem to let me. I want to go for blue. Okay. Doesn't seem to want to let me off that colour chooser. Okay. That's weird. Anyway, sometimes it's strange. Right. Let's just go with the gradient. Then go here again to filters, and maybe I was just doing that wrong. Noise and Perlin noise. Now can I change it? Double click on that. Surely I can change it. Green. Yes. I don't know. Must have been doing something wrong. When I re-look back at this, when I'm running through, obviously I'm doing it probably ahead of myself. So you can see now you've got this effect, and again you can change the zoom, octaves, and persistence. And you can tweak it and see a lot more noise there if you want, or go that way. Maybe change it and run through these, and dark colour, and so on. It's one of these things when you're running through in the tutorial, obviously going through this, sometimes you think, oh, will that work? Will that be great? And the difference is actually quite nice this time. Okay, click apply. So with that, you can see you've got 3 layers now, all with that Perlin noise. And you can now go through these and change. So you can just try them out. Maybe go select all of them. So all of them, and go with hard light or saturation, difference, etc. to create something like that. Well, once you've done that, again, you've got them all selected. Go to layer, and you can then merge selected. And of course, with that, you can manipulate it. Filters, and go to distort and deform again. Make certain that the move tool is selected. So filters, distort and deform. And because it does, sometimes the pins just will not work. You'll try and select them and it will not work. And you can see as you drag that across all kinds of different designs. And again, like you say, you can make lots of pins all very close together, maybe far. And of course, you can always change. I'm going to go with similarity. I prefer similarity. Just creates a lovely sort of smoother, sort of nice, more painted look, I think, personally. And with that, click apply. Once you've got that design, again, exact same, you can go here to layer and duplicate, or maybe this time with the move tool selected, press return on there on the keyboard. And once you've got that, you can then scale it, and you can go difference. Of course, it's difference up there, so you can just change that, and scale, rotation. You can create all kinds of weird and wonderful effects, maybe use horizontal and so on. And you can always go over here and change it, so you don't have to keep it. That you might want to decide lighten is a better result. Now you might not like this feature, but I think it's quite a powerful feature. Change the number of copies, change the scale, and you can see you can create something like that, which is like zooming in as well as the rotation as well, and with a bit of horizontal movement as well. Also, what you can do is you can change origin point. So you can just enable transform and you can reposition that. Now, I've just done that wrong. So it's just created all those. Didn't want to do that. Again, press return. It does occasionally just do it. and then suddenly you've lost all your settings. It's always a pity, but that's the way it works. Now I hope in future versions they actually add some more features where that doesn't happen. So when you actually go and do something, it doesn't lose the panel. But it does occasionally just go off and you lose it, and that's that. So 12 rotation, and you can see you can create a variety of different designs, and again combine with horizontal as well, create sort of lovely continuous design, which you can of course do manually. You don't have to have the move duplicate feature. And click OK. And there you have it. Very unusual blend of design. And again, you can select any of these layers and change blend modes to create different designs. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Thank you much.